there, but I was everything. There was no division between me and everything else. It was an unbelievable, blissful state of oneness with all. And it didn't vibrate, it was still. And as I went into this state, this voice started to talk to me. And it's just decoding thought forms. And it was as clear as I'm talking through this microphone, a female voice. And for about 4 or 5 hours in this altered state, it started giving me the deal of the Matrix and what it was. And it was incredibly profound, and I'm putting this together in a book I'm just finishing now, and doing all of it. But in brief, it said that this Matrix, this world we think is real, is merely an illusion generated by our own minds, and doesn't actually exist. It is a holographic illusion. And by manipulating our sense of reality, conditioning our sense of reality, that belief in what is real, manifests itself as a three-dimensional holographic illusion. And that if we start to realize that we are creating that reality we don't like, we can take control of our consciousness back from the conditioning, disconnect, decondition from the reality we're conditioned to believe in, and create a completely different illusion. It'll still be an illusion, but it will be a nicer illusion. And what was pounding around my head several times, right at the start, and then it was repeated, and then later, were these words: remember this, infinite love is the only truth, everything else is illusion. In other words, the oneness... In other words, the oneness of everything is the only truth. Everything on top of that are the illusions that one consciousness creates for itself. Infinite love is the only truth, everything else is illusion. So, armed with this, and that's the other thing it talked about again and again, oneness. Associate with being one, not apart. You know, when you hold a droplet of water, seawater in your hand, it seems to be a droplet, because it's disconnected from its ocean of infinity. But you drop that droplet back in the ocean, and where's the droplet and where's the ocean? The droplet is now the ocean. And what I was told in this experience is what the manipulators have done is give us the illusion of division from being oneness, identify with being Bill Jones or Mary Smith, and because we accept the reality of division, we create the illusion of division. We are still one, but we now have the illusion of not being, and so that becomes our experience. And there's another interesting thing, I just think what it said was, that's basically the Matrix. Divided in our minds from oneness, but not in reality, only in our minds. And what it said was, interesting, if it vibrates, it's illusion. And where I was did not vibrate, because it said this: the vibrational frequencies, dimensions and stuff, that we go to, most people, after we leave this dimension, we move off it, so-called death, not that it exists, we transform to another level of existence without this form. That is also the Matrix, because it still vibrates. It might be a more enlightened level of the Matrix, less dense than this one, but it's still the Matrix. And reincarnation, it said, is merely consciousness in a disconnected state moving from different levels of the Matrix and back into this one. Because it said the whole idea of the Matrix is division and duality, dividing oneness into constituent parts, which it can then play off against each other, left and right, negative and positive. And oneness is oneness. There's not two, there's one. Therefore, it has nothing, because what is a vibration? It's 2 points, an oscillation between 2 points. So what it said was, oneness is oneness. There is no other point. How can it oscillate? It must be still. It just is. The Matrix is frequency, is vibration, and if it vibrates, it's still illusion. Another thing it said was basically what this level of the matrix is, this five-sense level, is a time loop. It's the illusion of passing from past to future when there is no time. And because oneness, and I experienced this when I was in that state, there was no time. Everything just was in that moment. And so to keep us disconnected from oneness, the matrix has created the illusion of time, moving from past through present to future. And if you are connected to the illusion and think it's real of time, you cannot be fully connected consciously to oneness where there is no time. So the physical form is programmed to go through a period of aging, which fundamentally confirms, yes, time exists. Night and day and all this stuff. And when you get people who go into these other states, no matter who they are and how they do it, the common theme is, I was everything, I was at one with everything, and there was no time. The time is an illusion, and they manipulate time. We are not this physical form. This is a vehicle to experience this world, and this actually doesn't exist, as I'll get to in a second. It's a holographic illusion also. And if it's a holographic illusion, how can it age? Because we believe it can, therefore we program it to do so. We are consciousness, connected to all other consciousness, which kind of, when you think about it, if we stood in front of a mirror and smacked ourselves with a baseball bat, we'd say, hey, call the guys in the white coat, what are you doing? Because we've lost the understanding that we are all one consciousness, we have Arab suicide bombers killing Jewish people, a Jewish army killing Arab people, and they're killing their fricking self, if you understand the level of oneness. It's the disconnection, the identification with division that allows these things to happen. The matrix to work has to give the illusion of division. And if we knew we were all one, would we do the things to each other we do? Of course we wouldn't. And so we have to be manipulated to believe that. So, we are actually consciousness, and we're not the physical body at all. We are energy, consciousness, infinite consciousness. We are not what we are told we are, which is a physical form. Identify with your body. It's too thin, it's too fat. You're the wrong sex, you're the wrong gula. Bloody nonsense. We get sold and we believe. There's not black oneness and Jewish oneness and white Aryan soddy oneness. There is oneness, that's all there is. We are each other. So, this is the reason they want to keep us, as I started off the day, in this disconnected state in the eggshell, because then once we stop connecting with that, and becoming vehicles of oneness to experience this world, we disconnect in our minds from that knowledge, wisdom, perception, intuitive knowing, and therefore at that point we have one point at which to get access on what's going on in the world and who we are, and that's this. So if you can manipulate reality to disconnect people because they don't think they're oneness, they think they're Fred Bloggs, you disconnect them from that level of their infinite knowing, and you also control what's coming in here, so you program the droplet with your reality. And that's why right the way through the ages, people who have talked about this have been ridiculed, called dangerous, burnt at the sodding stake. It's the most dangerous information to the whole existence of this manipulation. What is reality? Answer, whatever we think it is. What I did, by the way, that's a brain, George, okay? You know the one you didn't have? You know, that's a brain. What I did when I came back from Brazil, and there was a ton of stuff that I was told about this, I thought, okay, I'm going to check this bloody thing out. So I started looking at the experiments in quantum physics and all this stuff to see if this whole kind of illusion idea that I was told actually stood up in this reality. And I realized some amazing things. Do you know when we say, I saw it with my own eyes? No, you did not. We don't see with our eyes. I didn't know that. We see with the vision.